You can see like how your parents are thinking.
For sure.
Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to the April 9th, is my mic on? Welcome to the,
There you go.
all right.
We're into it.
I'm going to talk right into it, okay. Welcome to the April 9th regular meeting of the Gorham School Committee. I will call this meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call, please?
Mia DeSanctis,
Here.
Michelle Littlefield,
Here.
Sarah Perkins,
Here.
Jackie Reynolds,
Here.
Eric Thistle,
Here.
Jennifer Whitehead,
Here.
Nicole Yeo Fisher.
Here.
Thank you. May I have an approval for the minutes of the regular meeting of March 12th, special meeting of March 26th, and the workshops of March 11th, March 17th, and March 31st, 2025?
I make a motion of approval of minutes for the regular meeting of March 12th, special meeting of March 26th, and the workshop meetings of March 11th, 17th, and 31st.
Second.
Motion by Nicole, second by Michelle. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Moving on to 2.0 administrative reports. Are there any questions or comments about the administrative reports? Seeing none, I will thank the district leadership team for submitting those. They are very helpful. We are now moving on to 2.2 program review, presentation and showcase of the Great Falls Art Program. Superintendent Perry.
Well, I'm going to quickly turn it over to Mrs. Fortier to introduce our guests here tonight.
Yes, good evening. Thank you so much for having us. So as you know, Heather has us identify some student presentations throughout the year, and we rack our brains trying to be creative and come up with something that is different each and every time. And I was walking down the hallway at Great Falls, and I don't know if you've been at Great Falls recently, but our school is just covered with this gorgeous art. I mean, it makes you do a double take. You're like, really? This is a kindergarten through 5th grade school? Because the talent is amazing, the creativity is over the top, and I have to thank our art teacher, Mr. Poole, for what he's able to do with our students each and every day. It really is amazing. So, of course, first-year teacher at Great Falls, I said, hey, Mr. Poole, what do you think about presenting to the school committee? And of course, he basically says yes to everything I ask him to do. That usually happens in the first year, right? So he was like, sure. I really know that he probably was feeling a little nervous about that big ask, but of course he was able to pull it together, had a student from each grade level represent a piece of their work from this year, and I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Poole so he can introduce the stars of the show. Thank you.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Mr. Poole. I am the K-5 art teacher at Great Falls Elementary, and I'm so excited to be here with you all tonight because I get to share the best part of my job with you, which is my wonderful students. So I have 6 students with me tonight representing kindergarten through 5th grade. They're just going to come up and briefly share a piece of their artwork and talk a little bit about that. Before they come up, just kind of a brief overview of our program, K-5. We really focus on the elements and principles of design. That's kind of our overlying structure for our art class. And then everything else is just about building relationships with the kids, finding our voice through our art, building our confidence, and just finding joy in the process that has kind of infatuated me for 42 years. I was thinking before this, like still remembering the first lines I drew in kindergarten of a Ninja Turtle and like how I drew those faces and how that's stuck with me and influenced my life up until this point. So I just feel so fortunate to work in such a wonderful community with such inspiring kids who each and every day surprise me and impress me and approach their art in unique and thoughtful ways. So without further ado, we're going to have our first student come up. You ready? Get up. You want to go on your knees? Or stand? I don't know. There you go. You ready? You want me to hold this?
I need that to get a little closer. Hi, my name's Elliot, and I'm in Mr. Bassad's kindergarten class. This is my painting, watercolored of the pigeon. inspired by the artist Mo Willems. Hi, my name is Henry.
I can paint him, I can't hold him.
Hi, my name is Henry. I am in Miss Bryson's fourth grade class. This is a self-portrait that I created using tempera paint.
Ooh, very nice. Nice job.
Do you need the chair? We might not need the chair for the next one. We're getting there.
Hi, my name is Violet. I'm in second grade in Miss Poland's class, and I made this sphere out of pencils and markers.
Very nice.
Hi, my name is Vivian. I am in Miss KB's third grade class. This is my mixed media landscape that I created through a combo of drawing, painting, and printmaking.
Nice.
Hi, my name is Fiona. I am from Miss Sedanka's fourth grade class. This is a media artwork that I created using both watercolor and acrylic paint.
Nice.
Hi, my name is Clara, and I'm in Miss Fraley's fifth grade class. This is a piece of optical art that I created. During this lesson, I learned about using cross contour line and value to create volume in my work.
Nice.
All right, so we are going to leave this art behind. For next month, we're going to have our Great Falls art display here in the back of the Town Council chambers. So we're excited to share even more artwork with you in a few weeks. And thank you so much for having us here. We really appreciate it.
Are there any questions for any of the artists? Jen, go ahead.
Thank you so much for coming in. This is definitely the best part of our job, is getting to meet you and seeing the amazing work you've done. I can tell you put so much effort into your art, and there's so much detail. I'm really impressed. You guys are amazing artists. Thank you.
Usually get to clap, but we can always clap for the kids. So thank you so much for being here. Parents, you should be able to find the video on gocat.org in a couple of days if you're interested in that. And you are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, but please don't feel that you have to. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Very curious.
Next up, we have our program review presentation on Teach Tech program at the middle school. Superintendent Perry.
Yes, so I'm not sure to see, Michaela's right there in the back. Michaela, I'm sorry in advance that you have to follow that. That's really difficult. I'm sorry. But I'm sure you're going to be equally as entertaining. Unfortunately, because you're an adult, we won't be able to clap for you, just so you know. But I did want Michaela to come up and present a little bit about the Teach Tech program. It's a grant that Michaela wrote and is working on and is doing a great job with middle school students on. So I'll turn it over to you to talk a little bit more.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I'm glad I got to be here tonight to see that amazing artwork of hopefully future students of mine. But yes, definitely tough act to follow. I'll do my best. So actually, I was here last spring as well last spring, I applied for a Teach with Tech grant for it was about $1,200, and that purchased 12 Lego physics kits, and it became clear very quickly that my students loved them, so I decided why not ask the state for more money. So last spring, I applied for a $10,000 grant through MLTI and was awarded that grant. So what I'd like to share with you tonight is how those kits are being used and kind of the progress I'm making so far with those grant requirements. So the additional $10,000, here, I'll make this a little bigger. That additional $10,000 allowed me to purchase 12 more kits similar to the ones I had. So that way every student in my class is a 1-to-1 ratio, so every kid has their own kit. It also allowed me to purchase 24 additional kits that are a higher level physics kit and 12 Lego robotics kits. So I now have a total of 60 kits now I'm almost working with, of different varieties and different types that students are allowed to access during science class, but as well as any other point in the day when they'd like to use them. So a lot of times I get asked why Lego, especially being a middle school teacher. A lot of times I'm saying, oh, isn't that for younger kids? What I have found with Lego, you can put them in front of anyone at any age, and they are going to become curious, inquisitive. They are going to become problem solvers. I can say this firsthand. Assistant Superintendent Donahue was at my Acton presentation, and I put those boxes in front of him, and I think he had more fun than some of my kids had as well. He did a great job building, by the way, that day. Did a great job. So I use them at the middle school level because as a science teacher, I really want my students to develop those skills of curiosity and problem solving, collaboration, creativity, and Lego is a great way, I feel like, to do that. However, we also want to talk about how they address learning standards as well. So it's not just the skill, but I also use them to help students better engage in learning about forces in motion, Newton's laws, simple machines, kinetic and potential energy. So they're learning about the content as well as growing those scientific skills. One real positive I found this year is I was able to talk to some of my former students at the high school, and some of the first things they said to me were, I miss the Lego, where are the Lego? We want to play with the Lego again. And they were able to tell me how they've been able to take the learning they did with the Lego and the builds they did for me and actually apply that to projects they're working on at the high school now. So I'm seeing that they're taking those skills and moving them forward as well. So as far as next steps with this grant and how I'd like to continue using these tools, I will be presenting at Acton again in the fall to a group of educators, similar to I did this past fall as well. MLTI, I've also submitted newsletters to them that they'll be publishing statewide shortly. The other thing I've been requested to do is I had a lot of teachers that have requested lesson plans from me for how I use the Lego. So I've developed a website for teachers with lesson plans and ideas and how they can get Lego for their own classroom. That has been shared with those who attended my Acton conference, and that website's going to be shared statewide through MLTI as well. My other hope is what I'd like to investigate for next year is I've seen the amount of growth for my students. So what I'd like to look at for next school year is how can we then take these kids and make them accessible to our 3-5 students. So I'd like to be able to create a system where my kids can travel for our 3-5 learners, and can we connect our 3-5 learners with my 8th graders to do some little collaborative learning that way. So that's kind of my next step for next year is how can I take what I've been doing in my classroom and kind of share within the Gorham community. So those are my next steps. And if MLTI offers a grant again, I will probably buy more Lego for the district. So those are my next steps as well. So thank you for giving this time to share what I've been working on, and hopefully we'll hear more about next year and more Lego in the district. That's it.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, just a thank you. I mean, this is absolutely incredible, and the fact that you went out of your way to do all this and get the grant, I mean, this is absolutely incredible. And, 8th grade, I feel like that's a tough grades sometimes. And so being able to do this is just really incredible. And I love the future plans of incorporating other students in the district too. So just a big thank you.
No, thank you. It's been a great experience, so thank you.
All right, thank you so much. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but please don't feel that you have to. Moving along to 3.0 communications, is there any member of the public wishing to make public comment? Being none, we'll move along to 3.2 student school committee members.
This week we've been celebrating Assistant Principal Appreciation Week, and we love our assistant principals. All Gorham Chorus Night was held on April 8th in the GHS gym, and All Gorham Band Night was held April 1st. And we have Science Career X Days for students to explore careers in the science field in the upcoming week.
Looking into the later weeks of April, we have April vacation starting on April 21st for all students in Gorham and staff. And then looking into early May, we'll have Thespian Society inductions taking place on May 2nd to celebrate new and graduating thespians. And AP exams will start the week of May 5th and end on May 16th. And we'll have a lot more coming for you guys in the month of May. So.
I bet it gets very busy toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments? Nope.
Wait, I have a question.
Oh, yes.
Has senioritis begun to set in?
It's set in probably like midway through October, but we're fighting through it.
Thank you. All right. Trying to get back to my agenda notes. Moving on to superintendent's report. Superintendent Perry.
Yes, thank you. So before I launch into my riveting report that I know you all look forward to every month, I did want to invite Jody Mezzanotte, principal at Village Elementary School, up to the podium. She'd like to say a few words for the school committee.
Thank you, Superintendent Perry, and I promise I'll keep it brief. I was faced with probably the most difficult professional decision that I've had to make, and that is to resign from my position as principal at Village Elementary. The decision was not easy at all, and Heather knows this. I was presented with an opportunity to go work for a nonprofit called Educate Maine to be their Director of Educator Engagement, which will provide me an opportunity to support teachers throughout the whole state, and also something very dear to my heart, which is workforce development and bridging that gap of the learning in the classroom and in students being workforce ready. So that's what I will be doing. But a few words to all of you, starting with Superintendent Perry. You know, the leadership in this district, from the superintendent, the school committee, it's where it all starts. It's the support that you give us every single day to do the very difficult and rewarding job that we do every day. You are always, the school committee, Superintendent Perry, you're student-centered. You make all of your hard decisions for what's best for the students, and it's incredibly impressive. I have had the privilege of working in other districts, and it's I've heard some very unique conversations around what we could do for our students here with the school committee and our district leadership. I also want to thank my colleagues, the DLT. What an amazing group of people. They support each other. They welcomed me back here with open arms, and they've been incredibly supportive as I move to my next venture. The staff, the colleagues that I work with every day, they're incredible. I don't need to tell you that. You know that. The dedication of our teachers in Gorham is just like no other place. And so it's been an incredible privilege to work alongside of all of these educators. I've spent 15 years of my 25 or 24 years in education at Village Elementary School. And so this, again, was a very, very difficult decision. I saved the best for last, which is our students. I feel very fortunate that I'll be able to be in all schools, and anyone that knows me knows that I love to teach junior achievement, and I'm a cheerleader for financial literacy, and I'll be able to come back to Village and teach financial literacy, which keeps me super, super excited so I can see the students. But I just, with my heartfelt appreciation to all of you, I just want to thank you for the time I've spent here as a mom and as an educator. It's shaped who I am today, and I just want to express my gratitude to all of you. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. You will be missed. Thank you.
I will share that she did ask that I would let her back in to do junior achievement and other things before she made the final decision. So that's good to know.
You said yes.
I did say yes. So that's public, so I can't take it back now, right? All right. Good. All right, so a couple of other updates for you to be thinking about. I did want to share that this week we've been celebrating not only Assistant Principals Week, which has been incredible, and I'm glad that you love your assistant principals. They are incredible people. But we also are celebrating this week the Week of the Young Child across the nation, which is a program that really celebrates children ages birth to preschool, 5 age or so. And it really is focused on just enjoying that time of their lives, instilling curiosity, the importance of play for children at that age, and just really the importance of those young, early learning times. And so there's a little thing here around how you can celebrate during the week. We're already at Wednesday this week, so you've missed out the Work Together Wednesday, but you still have Artsy Thursday and Family Friday to work with the last 2 days of this week. So please take some time to engage with those young children and help them to feel as though that play is so important. Just a couple of other pieces. We're going to be voting later on tonight on the school budget. I did want to mention after this process, for those that might be listening, what that next step is. So the next steps after tonight for the budget approval process for FY26 will be to deliver the budget booklets to the town manager by April 16th. Then we will have a joint budget workshop on April 29th with the town council. Then we will have, if we need to, a second joint workshop with the town council on May 6th. That's only if needed, so stay tuned on that one. And then May 13th will be the town council vote on the proposed FY26 budget. The last piece of the work is a June 10th referendum for the referendum piece that is approved each year. So that is the next steps in the process after tonight, so I just want to remind folks about what that is. I did want to mention that we have 2 ed tech positions still open in special education. We also currently have 3 open driver positions right now. Just continue to share that with folks. If you know of anybody that might be interested or good to serve in those areas, please point them in our direction. We do have 4 drivers in the training pipeline, which is incredible, so we're looking up in terms of that piece, but it does take some time to get through that pipeline. So that's, in the meantime, we still are using 2 contracted service buses each day for our regular routes. Let's see, last thing, I did want to mention, I'm sure many parents, in fact, I'm starting to get a few emails now, families asking, when do we think the last day of school is? And I've mentioned it a couple of times, but, I try not to jinx too much, but, because we're still in April and you never know what happens with the weather. But at this point in time, if we don't use any other snow days, the last student day will be the 13th of June, a half a student day. So please plan on that accordingly. And then finally, I did want to just mention to school committee members, because I don't think that you usually, I think you're aware of this, but I don't know if you feel invited to attend. So I wanted to get this on your calendars early if you do feel like you'd like to. This year, every other year in Gorham, with our leadership teams across all of the schools and with our district leadership team, we have what's called a data retreat. In which we spend a whole day. If you're a data geek, you love it, right? If you're not, maybe not so much. But yeah, see, Michelle, I can see you just lighting up right there. So we spend the whole day with our district leadership team and our leadership teams from each of the schools doing nothing but poring over the data for the past couple of years and just looking for patterns, looking for things that we see, themes, and trying to use that information to inform our goal setting processes for the coming year. So it's a really great day. It's going to happen this year on June 16th. Again, barring any further snow days. That would move if we had more snow days, but June 16th is the day. So mark your calendars. If you're able to come, please come. We would love to have you. If you're not, then that's okay. We can give you the Cliff Notes version later on. And that's about it for my report.
Any questions? Oh, seeing none, we'll move along to 3.4 school committee communications. Start with Jen.
Oh, I'll pass.
Okay, start with me, or next Mia.
In the adult ed report, I just wanted to point out there's an upcoming conclusion of the CNA apprenticeship program, and a big shout out to the 10 students that are about to test and then move to their clinical placements. I'm really impressed with that. Also wanted to recognize the assistant principals in our district. Mark Sawyer, Christina Cifelli, Vanessa Nickerson, Deanna Etten, Cheryl Fodder, and Sean Hansen. Thank you for all your dedication to both of our students and our staff.
Thank you. Eric?
Pass.
Okay, Michelle.
I just had a couple things. I wanted to give a shout out to the kids at the middle school for their amazing performances of Tuck Everlasting. I got to see it 3 times. It was great every time. So excellent job to all those kids and the adults that helped there. And also same for band and chorus. I got to attend both of those, and I'm just blown away by the talent we have in this community. It's just amazing. So those kids just impress me.
Thank you. Jackie?
I prepared remarks about the budget, but general remarks, no. My family was sick with the plague for 2 weeks, and now we're okay.
Full update. Nicole?
Speaking of talent, not to steal your thunder, Sarah, you're going to say something. We were just coming from the Narragansett Talent Show, which was absolutely wonderful. It does always amaze me, one, the courage and just how impressive our kids are in this district. It was very much a sight to see and very enjoyable. And then my second thing is a plug for the Gorham Backpack Program. So we are currently in need of all items. There is a list on the Facebook page of things. Currently, we are serving about 100 plus students a week with weekend bags, and 130 plus students every day for snacks. So please help if you can.
I will just piggyback on your backpack update. That was difficult. I just want to comment on how easy it was to use the Amazon wish list, place the order. It took about 30 seconds, so great cause. And that's all I had. So we can move on to school committee standing and special committees, finance and facilities. Michelle?
Yes, so we held our last meeting on the 26th, and we talked about primarily 2 items that were then brought to the meeting that evening. So we talked about the modular kitchen proposal and the revisions to the 10-year capital plan, in addition to our regular review of financial statements. So that was pretty much our agenda. So our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, April 28th at 6 p.m. in the superintendent's office.
All right, any questions? Seeing none, moving on to policy. Mia?
Yes, thank you. We had a great meeting on the 26th of March. Some of the things we talked about, 2 policies that will be going forward for first read tonight is canine patrol and searches, as well as individual education records. I'll speak to that in just a little bit. For our next meeting, we are going to prioritize some MSMA requirements and recommendations. Based on those recommendations, we're going to bring a required policy, JLFA, which is Child Sexual Abuse Awareness and Response, to our next policy meeting, which is on April 30th. We'll also put in a movement for IHBAL, grievance of persons with disabilities, on the agenda. And there had been some questions about public participation policy, and Quentin was going to do some research and bring that forward to our next meeting. So our next meeting will be on April 30th at 6 o'clock in the Assistant Superintendent's office.
Any questions for Mia? Seeing none. Personnel, Michelle?
Yes, personnel met earlier tonight and had discussion around kind of our first draft communication. So we talked through our schedule, tentative draft schedule, as well as the first newsletter bulletin that we intend to distribute. Just we're waiting for the outcome of this meeting before we fill that with more content, but so you should all see an update coming kind of on that pretty soon here. And hot off the press, our next meeting will be scheduled for April 29th at 5:45. That's just before our joint meeting, just to do a brief check-in on our communication planning. So yeah, that will be here.
Any questions for Michelle? Seeing none, where was I? Vocational education, Jen.
Yes, the last meeting was held at PATS, March 13th, and although I was not able to attend, I did review the notes, and something I thought I would share that's always interesting to me is WRVC had 3 visitor days up to that point. They had over 400 students attend, and up to that day, they had 350 applications. So it's a very popular program. And then next meeting is May 8th at 8:30 at WRVC.
Any questions for Jen? No? Moving on to our ad hoc committees, Gorham Teaching and Learning. Eric?
Yes, unfortunately, we haven't met since the last meeting, but our next meeting is coming up April 15th at 3:30 p.m. by Zoom.
Assuming no questions on that. Moving on to Anti-Racism and Equity Committee, Nicole?
We have not met since our last meeting. I forgot to last time, I know I'd mentioned our subcommittee group that put on our Eat and Learn, but I did want to just acknowledge the folks that in that group, Michelle Carlson, Blake Ursek, and Nick Adams, and a special thank you to Jenny Rutherford, who helped put on the event and did a lot of work around the event, so I just wanted to make sure that I recognize them. Our next meeting will be next week, April 17th, 5:30 at the GHS Library.
Any questions for Nicole? Seeing none. Dropout Prevention Committee, Mia.
We have not met since our last meeting, and the next meeting is TBD.
Fiscal Sustainability Committee, Michelle.
And I'll round it out with we have not met since our last meeting, but our next and final meeting will be April 14th at 6 p.m. Here in the downstairs conference room.
Wonderful. All right, moving on to unfinished business, 5.1, second reading of the following policies. Non-discrimination, equal opportunity, and affirmative action policy, AC. Harassment of students policy, ACAA. Harassment of employees policy, ACAB. Drug and alcohol testing of bus drivers policy, EEAEAA. EIEIO. Mia.
Neither Mr. Donahue or myself have received any additional feedback from anyone, and so we are bringing them forward for second reading, and I can make a motion. So I'd like to make a motion to approve of policy AC, ACAA, ACAB, and EEAEAA as presented.
All right, motion by Mia. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, new business. Consideration and action on the proposed FY26 school budget. Superintendent Perry?
Yes, thank you. So there's an updated summary sheet that is in your notes and also is in the public folder that basically gives you the highlights of numbers for this proposed budget. I will start by sharing that the proposed budget that you'll be discussing here momentarily represents the lowest mill impact request from the school committee since 2015, and I did go back and do the research on that. So it is, in terms of the impact to taxpayers, I think one of the lowest ones we've had moving forward here in a long time. That's the good news. Bad news is that we still have, there are some expenditure increases overall, but the good news is that we were able to use revenue streams or additional revenue streams to offset those increases for the taxpayer. This budget now stands at a requested total of $57,544,067. That's an overall increase of $4,068,266, or 7.6% over FY25. This budget includes the use of about $1.3 million in undesignated budgetary balance to offset taxpayer expense, and that's due to the revenue work that we've been doing over the past couple of years. The expected increase to the local mill rate is 30 cents, an increase of just 3.15% over last year's budget. We anticipate that a home valued at $400,000, which is the average in Gorham, or the median in Gorham, will see an increase of approximately $120 total in there based on this proposed budget. We've reviewed the proposed budget at length. We've had several meetings over that, and I would recommend approval as presented. However, that's your decision to make, and I think that Sarah's going to lead you through some conversations and discussions. There are 2 budget motions that I actually need read verbatim when you get to that point after discussion, or you can do the motions first and then do discussion. But those 2 motions are linked into your agenda, so you have the verbiage for them.
If somebody is comfortable, we have to take them individually, so let's do discussion first and then motions.
That makes sense.
Okay. Does anybody want to start off with their comments regarding the budget?
I don't mind.
Mia?
Yeah, sure. I will start by saying that it's a very interesting and difficult process. We had a lot of thoughtful discussions over our 4 budget meetings. We made a lot of difficult decisions. I'm really sorry that some people lost their jobs. It was it's part of the hardest part of doing the budget, but I do believe that it's part of the longer term plan and that is on the right track. I feel good. Appropriate class sizes are really important to me, and I'm impressed and feel very comfortable with all the class sizes across all the schools. I wish that there was more money in the budget for students and staff, but I feel that this amount that we're bringing forward is very reasonable for the taxpayers of Gorham, so I will be voting yes to approve the budget.
Thank you, Mia.
I'll go next. I will say I strongly support this budget, similar to what Mia just said. I think we wish we had lots of things, but there's also a lot of things to consider. We want to make sure that we're still continuing to provide an excellent education to the students here in Gorham and be mindful of our taxpayers. I want everybody to recognize this is a needs-based budget, and particularly recognize Superintendent Perry and the DLT for the very hard work that they put into this. This is hours and hours and hours. I'm sure it can be calculated, but it's very detailed and important work that is done. So I want to recognize that. I want to recognize, again, the work around revenue streams that were able to get us to where we are, where we can continue to provide this education, but also be mindful of the mill rate and what we're asking of our taxpayers here. So again, I strongly support this and we'll be voting yes.
Thank you, Nicole. Michelle?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to start with acknowledgement and thanks to the folks on the town side, the town council, as well as the town manager, and to the superintendent as well for the incredible amount of collaboration I felt through this process. So that's first and foremost felt very different than a process I've only been through this once before, but I followed the one prior very closely, and it just has felt very, very different. So thank you to everyone who put in effort there. As far as the process, I think I'd like to just remind folks that where we started in the process in terms of the mill rate impact was more than double where we ended. And so I think it was a lot of difficult work, but a lot of great discussion, a lot of creativity, a lot of folks leaving meetings and going back to the drawing board and coming up with entirely new plans to see if something else would work. So I'm just incredibly grateful for all of that effort. I know that it is a lot of work. The other thing I just did a little calculation on, because you guys know I love my data, is just to call out that of the things that we've asked for in this budget, in the increase specifically, what is new, it accounts for 0.3% of the total budget. It is a very, very small sliver. The majority of the things that we are asking for, that the reason for any increase at all, are things like changes to FMLA at the state level, 14% increase in health insurance, bus software that is no longer being funded at the state level that we have to pay for. We have a retirement of key positions that we're needing to pre-plan for, which I appreciate that effort happening now versus when it's too late. And this discussion was robust, and I just want to commend also the chair and the superintendent again for the way that we executed this process, because it was not until the last meeting that we realized we were in a very fortunate position of having some of that unassigned fund balance available to us. I'm so grateful to not know that until the end, to be honest. And I think that it's incredibly responsible that we are keeping funding that was appropriated for education, continuing to fund some of these, costs that we see increase. And I think that's the right thing to do with that fund balance. So for all of those reasons, I will be supporting this budget. And again, just thank you to everyone's effort.
Thank you, Michelle. Jackie.
Thank you. So as a newer community member, although I knew over the summer I was going to move here, I started kind of monitoring the social media conversations about the budget. And much like my former community and pretty much every community, there can be a general lack of understanding about everything that goes into it. And it was one of the things that really made me want to get involved with the school committee. And I'm really grateful to be here. It's been a privilege to be a part of the budget process and learn so much about how Gorham develops the budget. But what really stood out to me, and this is going to sound like a copy, Nicole, I'm sorry, is that to me this is a budget of needs. And we asked many, many questions and had many conversations about particular budget items, and inevitably we always circled back to what is needed. And some items were needed to maintain the status quo and deliver the services that we have been. Some are needed to achieve compliance, proper classroom size, and things of that nature. And some things are needed to retain the wonderful staff that we have, which is of the utmost importance. And I just think it's really important for the public to know, and it's been said many times, that our leadership team has put so much time and effort into delivering a budget that's fiscally responsible, does consider the impact on the entire community, not just those with children in our schools. And I would really invite everyone to read prior meeting notes and view videos of the budget workshop meetings, because if you do that, even just for a small amount of time, I think that you'll find, as I did, that this budget doesn't have fluff, it doesn't have extras, it really, unfortunately, doesn't have a lot of wants, even though there are many things that I would want for our students. It will meet the educational needs of our students, and I fully support it, and I'm really thankful to have been a part of the process.
Thank you. Eric?
Also, as a relatively new member to the school committee especially, I was one of those that was generally unfamiliar with the amount of work and preparation that goes into creating this budget, with all of the line items down to the cent. And it was incredibly impressive. The preparation, the civility, the collegiality, the conversations, the openness, the willingness to listen. It was a very informative process, and I'm proud to be a part of it. I will be supporting this budget. I personally would have liked to see a few more things added, but I do understand why they weren't, and I do think this is a fiscally responsible budget, and I will be supporting it vigorously.
Thank you. Jen?
Okay, so this is the sixth budget that I've worked on as a school community member, and I have to say this was a really good process. I was really proud to be a part of this group. And I just want to thank the superintendent and the DLT for putting so much time and effort into bringing us this and then going back and coming with other ideas. Really appreciate all of that. And also I want, what Michelle said, I want to just mention this, the relationship with the town council is really like nothing I have ever seen. I followed the budget well before I was on the school committee, and this has by far been the best town council to work with, and the collaboration is great to see. So I look forward to seeing that happen in the future, because this will probably be my last budget as a school committee member. So I just want to thank you all for being open and being respectful in all of our conversations. It has meant a lot, and I really think we're bringing forth a great budget for the town, for our students, for the town, and I will be supporting it.
Thank you. As usual, you all leave me with nothing to say, but I did have a couple of thoughts. I just wanted to draw a really strong line for the public. When we talk about the amount of cooperation from the town council and the town manager, the town office, what that means for our taxpayers is that you saved money. It's a very transparent process. You can view meetings, read documentation, but it is an opportunity for us to work together to save money for taxpayers ultimately, and that's our goal. I do also want to highlight the foresight of the superintendent and the district leadership team who have been working over the past several years to increase revenue across multiple fronts, even though our options for revenue are limited. As a school system, we are not designed to be money makers. But thanks to their efforts, we saw a $2.1 million increase in our subsidy from the state, $700,000 of which was because the parents filled out the forms that we needed them to fill out. So thank you, forms are important. I also want to highlight that we were able to budget for $25,000 in additional tuition revenue, $150,000 in state agency client revenue, $43,209 in Greater Sebago Education Alliance revenue, $100,000 in Child Development Services revenue. Those are all thanks to the work and, again, the foresight of the superintendent and the district leadership team, understanding that these are places that we needed to make investments in past years to start seeing payoff this year and in the coming years. So I am very proud of this budget. I also want to call out the work of the Fiscal Sustainability Committee, which I think was critical to helping that collaboration grow between the municipal government and the town council, school committee rather. So I will be also very vigorously supporting the budget, and I just want to thank everybody for their hard work. So, all right, with that, do we have a motion?
I move that the school committee approves and authorizes the superintendent to adopt a FY26 school budget of $57,544,067. This figure represents a 7.61% increase over the FY25 budget and is the only part of the FY26 budget that requires state and local Town of Gorham support.
Okay, motion by Michelle. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Is there a second motion?
I move that the school committee approve and authorize the superintendent to adopt the FY26 school budget, which raises additional local funds to support the school budget in the amount of $11,769,875, an amount which exceeds the amount required as the local contribution to the state allocation by $11,767,875 be approved.
Motion by Michelle. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jackie. Any discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to 6.3, first reading of the following policies. Canine Patrol / Searches, JIHD, Individual Education Records, IHBA. Mia.
All right, thank you. We began looking at these policies. On the canine patrol and searches, what we found, it was such an old policy that all of the procedures were embedded in the policy, and they do need to be separate. So if you review the policy, you'll see that it is shortened considerably. We will be sharing the procedures with you separately, so you'll be able to see how they were separated out. But as of right now, the canine patrol and searches is strictly just the policy that will need to be voted on. The individual education records, or IEP, policy IHBA, there were very slight revisions that were made, and we had actually Kathy Hamlin took a look, who's our Director of Pupil Services, and made a very slight revision, just making sure that the policy is in effect from the first time that a child enters school. So if you would just take a look at that and give any feedback to myself or Dr. Donahue.
Wonderful, thank you. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.